Howdy folks, Kathy Williams-Devries here, bringing you another video in my series on introduction to the scales of the clarinet. We're almost at the end of the series. This video is dealing with D flat major and B flat minor. This is aimed more at upper high school or early college level students. If you're looking for an introduction to the very basic scales, excuse me, I recommend that you look at my series on the Trinity College scales. I take them from the very first grade right up to grade 8. It's all graded for you. Absolutely brilliant. The books I'm using are two books, the Baermann Method Division 3 and the Klose Complete Method. You can also find a lot of the scales in the Clarinet by Thurston, and this is actually a really helpful book because it groups the scales by key rather than by scale type. But Klose and Baermann have a few more different scales. So one thing in D flat major we've got to look out for is the G flat, especially in the throat tones. I use the side F sharp D flat coming from the F. It's a lot easier. So yeah, I do recommend that side G flat. So if we start with the scales in the Baermann, be aware that you need to use this G flat to get to the A flat, same D flat, E flat. Note up the top, D flat to E flat. Remember that the E flat key only goes on for the E flat, not the D flat. Excuse me? Now here, to get to the A flat, you will need to slide to the left hand F. So that's about the only little trick you need to do there at the end of the scale. B flat minor. Also I recommend using the forked F sharp G flat as well. Makes things a little bit easier than if you're using the forked, the normal fingering. So in B flat minor, we're doing the melodic, and the G and the A are made natural. So that you can use the long B flat there. So there's not too many dramas there. We then come to the interrupted scale. This is interrupted at the 4th. So now note that while you can use the side G flat in the first group, in the first couple of groups, well, actually you might even need to use the regular F sharp, simply because it's a little bit difficult to go from G flat to E flat. It's a bit finicky. So need to slide to the C to get to the D flat. You will need to use the regular G flat, F sharp there to get to the E flat. And no pinky key onto the D flat. You will need to use the regular F sharp G flat there. You will need to slide from the D flat to the C there. So those are a couple of things you need to watch out for. B flat minor with a raised G and A. You will need to slide from the E flat to the C there. So now for the further interrupted scales, we go to the Klose, the interrupted scale at the octave. Okay, so as much as possible use the side G flat. There you'll need to use the regular one. So as much as possible I try to use either forked fingerings or side fingerings for the G flat. Now B flat minor, Klose gives you a choice. They write it out for the melodic and insert naturals for the harmonic, so it's a nice little choice for you. So going the harmonic. No real dramas there, and the melodic. And then natural on the way down. That's your interrupted scales. Then we'll back to Baermann for the returning scales. Now it starts on a low F. You will need to use the left hand F in order to get to the A flat. So and you will need to use that G flat. So you can use the side fingering there, which you will need to use the regular F sharp there. You will need to slide there. And then on the way down. To use the regular G flat there. So after we we've done that, we now go on to the arpeggios and broken chords. Now with D flat, there is an option. You either slide from the D flat to the F or slide from the F to the A flat. Might be a bit easier, or very quickly. Cheat a little bit. It's up to you. I would slide there as well. B flat minor is a lot easier. You can use the long B flat. So there's no real dramas in B flat minor. It's exactly the same as B flat major, except with a D flat. Right, we now come to D flat major, the broken chord. There's no real drama, D flat, except you will need to start on the left hand F. Maybe just practice going up to the F the first time. And remember, no pinky key. B flat minor, very straightforward. Again, you can use the long B flat. So yeah, long B flat, I do recommend you use that. Okay, and staying on chords, we now look at the dominant seventh, which starts on A flat. I do tend to like using the overblown B flat as a top F sharp G flat. Dramas there. You will need to use, of course, the left hand C. Make sure you get a clean E flat to C, which I didn't quite get that time. And then the next bit, sort of at the sixth, I do recommend you slow it down and use this as legato practice. I do recommend actually to use the fork fingering for the G flat there, so that you can get to the E flat a lot better. I do tend to use that F sharp when coming from the sixth. Maybe that E flat. But those are just my fingerings. We now come to the scales in thirds, so let's hop over to Klose. So let's see, D flat. You will need to use the regular G flat there. We'll need to use that C on the way down, the left-handed C. am I going? And then in thirds. Let's see, where'd you go? B flat, here we are. Hang on, where are my minors? B flat minor, there we are. You have the option of either the melodic or the harmonic. Let's do the melodic first. Left hand C there. Left hand C again there. And then I need to practice these because I usually do the melodic only. Let's hop over to Baermann. Remember, don't put the pinky down for the D flat. I like that top G flat. But I use the regular G flat there. B flat minor, it's written out in the melodic in the Baermann. Left hand C there. Remember, from the F to the D flat to take off the E flat key. That's all the keys. We now come to the scales in sixths. Again, I recommend that you practice these slowly to get a really smooth legato between the sixths. Note here I use the proper E flat. Don't use this E flat, it's too sharp. I recommend the forked G flat there so you can get to the E flat. And that's a nice easy one going from A flat to F. Nice long B flat there for you. You will need to use the regular one there, I think. I recommend the forked fingering there to go from the E flat. Long B flat there. And then in B flat minor. Use the long B flat there. fork fingering. I tend to use the left hand, right hand there. Okay, so that's the second last in the series. I think I need to practice these a few times myself. But those are my recommended fingerings. Please join me for the last video in the series on F sharp major and D sharp or E flat minor, depending on whether you like reading sharps and flats. So thanks for listening. Bye for now.